Hey guys, today we're going to take a real quick look at empirical versus molecular formulas for compounds. One of the applications of percent composition, which we learned a couple of days ago, is being able to derive a formula for a compound if you know what percentage it is of each element by mass. And that's something that chemists do a lot. And that empirical formula is not always the exact same as the molecular formula. So an empirical formula is one that is completely reduced. And when I say reduced here, I mean almost like a fraction. So in a fraction, if you have 2 over 4, both of those things are divisible by 2. So you could divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2. And you get 1 and 2, which is equivalent. 2/4 equals 1/2. It's the same ratio. That idea applies to empirical and molecular formulas. An empirical formula is the most reduced form, and the molecular form is the one that represents the actual number of atoms of each element present in the molecule. So for example, we know that glucose is C6H12O6. Well, all of those numbers are divisible by 6. So this is the actual molecular formula for glucose. If you look at a glucose molecule, it's got 6 carbons, 12 hydrogens, and 6 oxygens. But if you were finding this formula via percent composition, you would find its reduced form. So if you look at each of these numbers, you could divide them by 6 to get C1H2O. So that reduced formula is called the empirical one. Molecular is what's actually there, actually present in a molecule, but empirical is the reduced down form. So let's look at these few questions here. Number 1 asks, which of the following is an empirical formula? Well, it's the one we just did. A is not completely reduced, so it's not empirical. B is completely reduced. C, all of these things are divisible by 4, so that's not reduced. And D, all of these things are divisible by 3, so that's not reduced. The answer is B. Go ahead and try to do number 2 on your own. Pause the video, play it again when you think you know the answer. All right, and the answer here is CO2 because it is the only one of those 4 that is reduced. A has both subscripts divisible by 2, C has both subscripts divisible by 5, and D has both subscripts divisible by 6. So the answer has to be B. All right, and the last thing you need to know how to do is to actually reduce the things themselves. Let's look at number 1 here. C2H10O2. Each of those subscripts is divisible by the number 2. So let's go ahead and divide all of them by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so you just have C. 10 divided by 2 is 5, so you've got 5 hydrogens, and 2 divided by 2 is 1, so it's just 1 oxygen. Your reduced empirical formula is CH5O. Go ahead and try to do that for the next couple of formulas. Pause the video and play again when you think you have the answers. All right, there are the answers for you. Hopefully this was helpful. If you're in pre-AP, you're actually going to have to know how to find the empirical formula via percent mass. So go watch Ms. Rigsby's video covering that topic.